I am 91 years old, and I'm going to tell you things that your parents didn't tell you, your doctors won't tell you, and every self-help book on the market got completely wrong. I taught 4th grade for 38 years in Tupelo, Mississippi. I raised 3 children. I was married for 47 years to a man named Gerald, and I watched him die in a hospital bed on a Tuesday morning in October of 1998 while I held his hand and couldn't think of a single useful thing to say. I buried my son Bobby Ray in 2003. He was 44 years old. I lost my best friend Cora. I lost my sister Helen. I have been to more funerals than birthday parties in the last 20 years, and I stopped counting somewhere around 2015 because the counting started to feel like a cruelty I was doing to myself. I have had a long, long time to think, and in all that time, all those years of living and losing and watching and waiting, I learned something that still haunts me when I wake up at 3 in the morning and the house is quiet. I learned it too late, and now I'm going to give it to you before you do the same thing I did. I am not a wise woman by nature. I want to be clear about that. I was stubborn. I was proud in ways that didn't serve me. I spent the better part of my 40s convinced I had most things figured out, which is, I can say now, one of the most dangerous things a person can believe about themselves. I grew up in a small house on Verona Road outside of Tupelo. 3 kids, 1 bathroom, a mother who ironed other people's shirts for money, and a father who worked at the mill until his back gave out. We were not a family that talked about feelings. We were a family that got up and moved forward, and we believed that was strength. For a long time, I believed it too. I started teaching in September of 1956. I was 23 years old, and I walked into that classroom in a green dress my mother had sewn, and there were 27 children looking at me like I had all the answers. I spent 38 years trying to deserve that look, but it wasn't in the classroom where the real lessons came. It was on an ordinary Wednesday in April of 1987. I remember it was a Wednesday because I had papers to grade when my husband Gerald said something to me at the kitchen table that I dismissed in about 4 seconds flat. I won't tell you what he said just yet, but I want you to know that 4-second dismissal cost me more than I can calculate. That's where this story really starts. Here is the thing that I find almost unbearable to say out loud. I was a teacher. That was my identity for nearly 4 decades. And the cruelest joke life ever played on me is that I spent 38 years teaching other people's children how to pay attention, how to listen, how to sit still, how to observe the world carefully. And I went home every evening and did none of those things for the people who needed it most. I taught presence. I lived absence. And what makes it worse? What makes it the kind of thing that wakes you up at 3 in the morning is that I knew better. That's the part nobody tells you about regret. It's not that you were ignorant. It's that some part of you knew, and you chose comfort over courage anyway, and then one day the chance was simply gone. I thought I had time. And I was wrong, and if you are sitting there watching me right now, you are making the exact same calculation I made, and I need you to understand something before we go any further. You are wrong too. We had a set of china that Gerald's mother gave us when we married in 1951, white with a thin blue border, 12 place settings. We used it exactly 4 times in 47 years of marriage. For times. I kept it in a cabinet with glass doors, and I would look at it, and I would think, we'll use it when something special happens. Gerald died on a Tuesday morning. We did not use the china the night before. We had leftover soup in regular bowls, and I didn't even sit down at the table with him because I was watching the news. After he passed, I took that china out of the cabinet and I used it every single day for a year. Soup, cereal, crackers, everything. Because I finally understood that Tuesday morning soup with the man you love is the special occasion. Whatever you are saving, the perfume, the good towels, the words you mean to say, stop saving it. Use it today. Say it today. The cabinet is not a promise. It's just a cabinet. I told my son Bobby Ray approximately 10,000 times in his life to be patient, to slow down, to stop and think before he reacted. 10,000 times. I know because I was a teacher, repetition was my entire professional methodology. Bobby Ray was impatient his whole life. Rushed. Reactive. Exactly like me. He didn't learn it from what I said. He learned it from watching me snap at Gerald over small things. From watching me hang up the phone too fast. From watching me walk past people who needed a minute of my time because I was busy with something that I cannot even remember now. You are not teaching your children with your words. You are teaching them with your Tuesday afternoons when nobody's looking, with how you treat the waiter, with whether you stop and really listen when someone is talking to you or whether your eyes go somewhere else. They are watching. They are always watching. And they're taking notes. I had a falling out with my sister Helen in 1979 over something so small I am genuinely embarrassed to say what it was. We spent 11 years barely speaking. 11 years of Christmas dinners where we were polite and cold and careful, like two people trying not to touch a bruise. We reconciled in 1990 eventually. But those 11 years are just gone. They don't come back. I had a sister and I wasted 11 years of her. She died in 2017, and at her funeral I thought, we got 27 good years after we forgave each other. We almost didn't. Over something I refused to say out loud because it would embarrass both of us. Whoever you haven't forgiven right now, and you know exactly who I mean, because a face just appeared in your mind, that person is not suffering from your unforgiveness. You are. You are carrying it every single day like a stone in your shoe, and you've gotten so used to the limp that you don't even notice it anymore. Put the stone down. Not for them. For the 27 years you're throwing away. After Gerald died, I sat in that house for 2 years. I told myself I was grieving, and that was true. But after about 8 months, I wasn't grieving anymore. I was just sitting, waiting for life to come to me instead of going to find it. My friend Cora called me every Thursday. Every single Thursday for 2 years, she called. And about half those Thursdays, I let it go to the machine because I didn't feel like talking. Cora died in 2011. I would give a great deal to answer one of those Thursday calls. The people who love you are not going to keep calling forever. They have their own fear, their own tiredness, their own quiet surrender. If you have been pulling back from people, from dinners, from phone calls, from showing up, I am asking you to understand that they are interpreting that silence. And what they're hearing is that you don't want them anymore. Call them back. Show up. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. I smiled through things I should have cried through. I said I'm fine through things I was not fine about. I was raised to be sturdy, and I was sturdy, and it cost me intimacy with almost everyone I loved because nobody actually knew what was happening inside me. Gerald tried for years to get underneath that. He would ask me quietly, Lorraine, what do you actually need? And I would say I'm all right and change the subject because being needed felt safer than being known. The night before he went into the hospital for the last time, he said, and this is what he said at that kitchen table in April of 1987 that I dismissed in 4 seconds. He said, "Lorraine, I feel like I've never really met you." He wasn't being cruel. He was heartbroken. I was 54 years old, and my husband of 36 years told me he felt like he'd never really met me. And I changed the subject. Let people meet you, the real one, while there's still time. I worked like work was salvation. Summers, I took on extra courses. Evenings, I graded until 11 at night. Weekends, I was preparing. I told myself I was being responsible, being excellent, providing for my family. I was also avoiding. The quiet was uncomfortable. The stillness felt like failure. I didn't learn to sit still until I was in my 70s, and my knees made the decision for me. And in that stillness, finally forced on me, I discovered something extraordinary, that the present moment, just the room, just the light, just the breathing is actually enough. It has always been enough. You do not need to earn rest. You do not need to justify stopping. The life you keep running toward is happening right now while you run. I never told my mother I forgave her for the years when she was too exhausted and too overwhelmed to be what I needed. I understood it. She was ironing other people's shirts for money with 3 kids and a bad back, but I never looked at her and said those words. She died in 1981. I was 48. I have had 43 years to wish I had said it. Think of one person right now, one person to whom you owe a real sentence, not a card, not a text, not a nice comment at Christmas, a real, spoken, looked-in-the-eyes sentence about what they mean to you, or what you're sorry for, or what you should have said years ago. You know exactly who it is. You've known for a long time. I want to stop for a moment, because I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, this is beautiful, this is sad, I'll call someone this weekend. You're thinking, this applies to my brother, my father, my friend Sarah, not quite to me. You're already filing this away. I was a teacher for 38 years. I know exactly what filing away looks like. I watched children do it every day, nod, smile, look like they were listening, walk out the door, and not carry a single thing with them. Don't do that to this. Because right now, while you are sitting here watching me right now, there is someone in your life looking at their phone wondering why you haven't called. There is someone who told you something important 3 weeks ago that you responded to with, "Yeah, let's catch up soon." There is someone who made you a meal, showed up when you needed them, carried something heavy on your behalf, and you said thank you and moved on and haven't thought about them since. You love people. I know you do. But love that stays inside you is not something other people can feel. They cannot feel what you think about them in the car on the way home. They cannot feel your good intentions. They can only feel what you actually do, what you actually say, when you're standing in front of them. So I'm asking you, be where you are, with the people who are right there, while they're still there. Because one day, and I promise you this, one day you will be 91 years old in a quiet house, and you will understand exactly what I mean. I'm going to die, not in a scary way, just in a knowing way. The way you know something that's been true for a long time and you finally made peace with. I'm 91. I've had a long run. I've had more than most. But here's what I want you to understand. It's not my death I'm thinking about when I wake up at 3 in the morning. It's the people in your life who are running out of time right now. Your parents, If you still have them, do you understand how numbered those Sunday dinners are? Your older friends, the neighbor who's been there for 20 years. They're in the last chapters, and the last chapters go faster than any of the others. You have a number of tomorrows. You do not know what that number is. But I can tell you from where I'm sitting that the number is smaller than you think, and the things you keep postponing have a way of becoming things you never got to do. The time you have with the people you love is real. It is finite, and it is happening right now. So here's what I want you to do. Not tomorrow. Today. Stop watching this and call someone you love. Not a text. A call. Hear their voice. Let them hear yours. This week, go sit with someone, a parent, a friend, a neighbor who lives alone, and just sit with them. Don't fix anything. Don't check your phone. Just be in the room with them and let that be enough. And say the thing. You know what it is. Say the real thing to the person who needs to hear it. Use their name. Look at them. Say it out loud. That's all. Not because I said so. Because somewhere inside you, you already know I'm right, and you've known it for longer than you'd like to admit. I was a teacher my whole life, and the last lesson I'll ever give is this. The people are the point. They were always the point. Don't learn that too late.